Germany Special Envoy for Syria, Stephen Schneck. Welcome to النهار.
Thank you very much.
Stephen, drug smuggling in the region does not appear to be declining. Jordan has foiled recently 2 plots to smuggle millions of Captagon pills to Saudi Arabia. How do you assess efforts to combat this trafficking?
I think this case shows how urgent cooperation in this area is. I think smuggling is going up, production is going up, consumption is going up, and we see that this is a threat to regional stability, to neighboring countries and beyond. So we applaud Jordanian efforts and we stand by their side in supporting them, especially when it comes to the border cooperation. As we all know that the main production sites are within the regime-held areas of Syria. So we have to support our partners in this fight against militias and finally also the attempts of the narco state in Syria to destabilize its neighboring countries.
What are the main obstacles that confront such fights?
I think the first problem, of course, is the high profit. It's incredibly profitable. A Captagon pill in production is very cheap, and in selling it is very expensive. So the incentives are very high. So what we do need is, I think, like a comprehensive strategy and comprehensive action, which is addressing the side of the demand and the side of the offer. It is market logics, and therefore we have to work comprehensively in, for example, information campaigns to show people that Captagon is very dangerous, not only to their own health, but also for society, for families. And on the other side, of course, we have to fight together the side of the offer. So on security issues, on border issues, and there we need a very close cooperation with our partners.
Yeah, you mean that that obstacles are logistics and political as well?
Especially the price difference. I mean, also the strategic use of the regime in Syria and its backers, Russia and Iran, to destabilize. And therefore, we have to get together politically and on a practical level to find new ways to fight Captagon smuggling and consumption. And this is a question of education, of health, of security, and of policies.
How is Germany providing support to regional law enforcement agency? Oh, how does it help in this field? Is the support training, equipment, sharing intelligence? What kind of support Germany are offering?
Exactly. On the one hand, we have the very concrete technical security cooperation when it comes to training, but also, for example, X-ray, to equip the border security forces in the necessary way to support our partners in for example, in Jordan. But it also includes, on a more strategic level, cooperation with UNODC, developing national strategies and regional strategies. We are working there very closely with Iraq and Jordan. And as you've seen maybe on my Twitter account, we're also working with high-level delegations which exchange experience. And I think this is very important. For example, we had parliamentarians here who were very interested in legal adaptation. How could you react as a lawmaker to the new challenge?
And I saw you meeting, I think, local communities and the people from the region. From a humanitarian perspective, how is the Captagon crisis affecting the civilian population in Syria and neighboring countries?
I think it is a real catastrophe is preparing, because as I said before, it's not only about the individual who loses its health, who gets addicted, and it's getting into criminal networks, but it's about families also, and it's about society. And therefore we need this comprehensive approach where we educate people and we also give them the possibility to get out of this vicious circle. If we don't manage, this will have serious effects on regional stability, which we absolutely need to avoid.
What other Western countries are participating in these efforts?
Well, as you know, the United States have an anti-Captagon strategy, which is very much on security, and other partners are also working on security efforts. I think the new efforts should be also be made in the areas of education and in the area of health. And there we see a lot of interest from different countries, but the topic is quite new, and therefore I'm very thankful that we have this talk, because it's about awareness raising also within the international community, not only in the region directly affected, but also for partners, for donors, and for specialized agencies. We have a close cooperation, and we are enhancing it, especially with Jordan in our bilateral relations. And the coordination, of course, is very much key, so that there is a division of labor with international partners. And therefore, we, of course, have a regular exchange on our strategy, but we have to enhance it.
Mm-hmm. How can you tell us more about this cooperation between so many agencies and countries to fight this drug dealing?
Well, we are already on a concrete level, we are already doing things and coordinating. I think now is the time to enter into a new phase where we do it more structured, to get together also on an international level and to coordinate it very closely. Jordan is one of our major partners, the UNODC, the WHO, of course, UNICEF. Children are very much affected. So it will be a huge effort, and it will take time, of course, but it has to be structured and also fight, of course, the root causes.
Do you have numbers of the size of Captagon trafficking across the region?
There are very different numbers around. They are huge. That's we do know for sure. But the information gathering, of course, is one of the key point to start a well-coordinated answer. But we estimate that the income from the Captagon production is something between 5 and 10 billion a year.
That's a huge sum.
It is exactly a very huge sum, and this is one of extra concern to the region. It is financing militias, terroristic groups. Of course, the regime, the regime in Damascus has a budget of $2.4 billion a year, and income from Captagon much bigger. So we see that the regime in Damascus is in its way dependent on the production of Captagon and is limiting, of course, any movement of cooperation and of the step-for-step process within the UN resolution process 2254.
Uh-huh. And looking ahead, what strategic plans does Germany have to further address the production and trafficking of Captagon?
Well, first of all, I think we need a broad approach and awareness rising. So that is the first step, of course. And then we need action on different levels, on the level of education and the level of security, on political level and on the health level. So we need a broad strategy, which is also concerning parliaments, which is also concerning secure institutions, ministries and international institutions and international donors. So it must be a broad strategy to be implemented in the next years, and it will take time, but it's time to start now in order not to come too late.
There are so many ministerial committees that were trying to deal with this traffic. Even we saw lately a meeting in Jordan. Any results for these contacts?
Yes, they are very important on all levels within the political processes, but also for the public, so that it contributes to put the topic on the table. So I think this is a very important part, the ministerial level. Then we need a donor coordination level, a strategic, more technical level. So it must be a multi-layer and complex strategy and action.
My last question, drug trafficking and Captagon trafficking is not something new in the region, and this triangle. What has changed lately?
I think what has changed is especially the influence of the regime and its backers by Iran and Russia, who are pushing it, as they need those income for financing, of course, their militias, and also to put pressure on their neighbors. So that is a new quality which has also been to be taken into account. And of course, the size is new. The size of the consumption, the size of the financial involvement, and of course the size of affected people is growing rapidly, and is very worrying for regional security. And therefore, I think it's really time to act together.
Maybe because of the war and the chaos in Syria, especially. It makes things like this easier.
I think this is an intentional strategy from the regime, which they use for political and financial aims, and therefore we have to deal with this also on a political level and a comprehensive one.
Thank you for your time, Stephen.
Thank you very much.